I've already talked a little bit about the cost of borrowing, and as I like to say, there's a cost to borrow money. It's not free. When our depositors come in and put money in our bank, they're not putting it in there for nothing. They're going to ask us to pay them interest on that, the same as if we loan money out, we're going to ask for interest on it as well. The interest that we get is, I talked about earlier, is our spread on that, and plus we have to price in for credit risk. And let me give you an example of a loan. If you came in to borrow, say, $10,000 at 6% interest, and so we looked at it and said, okay, once you pay that back over 60 months, that's 5 years, and equal monthly payments, at the end of 5 years, you would have to pay $193 a month for 60 months to repay that loan, that $10,000 loan. But when you paid that loan, you will have paid us $11,600. The original $10,000 you would have paid, plus you would have paid us about $1,600 of interest. That's the cost of borrowing money. That's just the cost for the use of the money. If you took the same $10,000 loan and the same interest rate and did it over let's say you did it over 10 years or 120 payments, then you would have paid, by the end of the day, you would have paid us, well, first of all, your payment would go down to $111 from $193, and because you're paying it over a longer period of time, you would have paid us $3,322 worth of interest, and plus the $10,000 loan. So there is a cost to borrowing money, and you can see when you look at it at the end of the day, that's $3,300 is a pretty good price to borrow $10,000. It's almost a third of the amount that you borrowed. You're paying in interest, but you're using it for 10 years. So the longer you use that money, the more interest you're going to have to pay. So these are, you all probably know all this, and I was a little reluctant to even get into that, but I thought, well, I'd get as a way of background, I would just kind of talk about that. What I do think I want to talk about and give some, spend a little time on is something you all need to know, and you need to know when you get out and start to work. You need to know very well, and that is a credit score. What is a credit score? And today, you can hardly borrow money anywhere without a credit score. There's a company in San Francisco, near San Francisco, it's a little suburb of San Francisco, called Fair Isaac & Company. And Fair Isaac & Company has developed something that in the industry and the jargon we use for that is Fico Score. A FICO, F-I-C-O, is for Fair Isaac Company, and we just refer to it as Fico scores. Lenders use those FICO scores every time we make a credit decision, a consumer credit decision. We use them less on businesses and commercial entities, but for all consumer loans, whether it's a car loan, a real estate loan, a student loan, or whatever, we'll look at the FICO score. First thing you need to know about a FICO score is where does Fair Isaac Company get the information that they need to make to come up with a score? Well, one thing that happens when you borrow money from a bank is we report to certain, they call them credit agencies or credit repositories. There's about 4 or 5 of them that operate in our area. Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian are some of them, but we report to them. First of all, we just extract off of our mainframe certain information about you and about your loan, and we, in a digital way, we transmit that information to these credit repositories. They take that information from us, and they take it from everyone else that you owe money to. If it's a credit card, you have a credit card, or if you owe money on a car, if you owe money on your home, if you owe money on a boat, or anything else, they report certain key information to these credit repositories. Other people that report to those are your retailers report if you have a retail credit card, utilities, credit card companies I mentioned, the telephone companies, hospitals, doctors, merchants. Many merchants report if they loan money to you or sell you things on credit, they report to these credit agencies this certain information. They want to know your loan balance, the amount of your payment, your payment history, and then certain other technical information like your social security number. They have to do that to match all this together. So they pull all this information together from all these different sources, from us and other creditors and all that, and so they now have a complete picture of everything you owe and what your total payments are. So they start with that information. Fair Isaac Company buys that information from these credit repositories. So if you go borrow money from someone, you know that information is going to be reported to these credit repositories. So your payment history is going to make a difference in terms of your credit score. Other things that they're going to know because of automated intelligence. And there's a lot of automated intelligence out there now to get. But if they know where you live, they know the approximate value of the homes in your neighborhood. If they know that, they know the approximate value of your home. They know the approximate income you have, because to live in a home of that nature, you're going to have a certain type of income. So they can estimate your income. They know your total debt and the places you borrow money. They know your payment history. They know how many times you've been past due, 30, 60, 90 days, on any of your debt. And they know if you've ever had any what we call judicial collection items. These are garnishments. If you've ever been into foreclosure, if you've ever been in a court from a creditor trying to collect money from you, they know that. That's all reported to these credit agencies, and they're on to Fair Isaac and Company. Now, Fair Isaac and Company has taken all that information and developed a black box scoring mechanism, which is proprietary information. They don't tell us how they do that. It's a corporate secret that they have. But the product of what they do is a credit score. Now, here are my rules on credit scores. And the credit scores go from somewhere like at the very low 350 to a very high of about 850. Those are the parameters of the credit scores. Now, I don't know why they came up with those parameters, but that's what they are. A good score runs from about a 720 score to 850. Those are a good score. You might even say a superior score, a very good score. An average score runs from like 680 to 720. Still a good score. It's okay, correct. We make loans all the time to people in that category, the 680 to 720. What I call a marginal score is somewhere around 620 to 680. Now, if you're in the marginal range, we got quite a few loans in that marginal range. We make loans to people all the time, but we're going to look a little bit deeper into your background and your income, and we're going to pay a little more attention to that before we make a loan to someone in that category, the 620 to 680 category. And then anything below 620 would be a poor credit score. You've got collection issues. You've been past due quite a few times. You're not keeping up your payments or whatever. So if you're below 620, first of all, you couldn't get a home loan with Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae, the big government agencies that make loans, because they don't make loans to consumers that have credit scores down in that category. Now, I never say never, because there are exceptions to that, but as a general rule, they aren't going to make a home loan to someone with a credit score and that's below 620. Now, I've kind of mentioned we don't know exactly how they make these scores, but we know things that really influence them. And I've got on the number one on the list is delinquencies. If you've been delinquent on any of your payments, your scheduled payments, that's a big negative. It knocks your score down. Have you had any collection issues? I talked about those, judicial collection issues. If they've been sued in a court over past due loans or foreclosure. How many credit cards do you have? If you have too many credit cards, your score is going to be lower because you got a lot of credit outstanding. But if you don't have any credit cards, that's a negative too, because now you don't have any credit history. So you need one or two credit cards. A bank card they give you more credit for a bank card than they do a retail card. So they look and see if you got a bank card, how you use your bank card, and that's an issue.